Hey, I'm Carlo Peruzza.
I'm Mike Manning.
You're
watching Sand Shark Bytes.
Hey, welcome back to Sand Shark Bytes. As always, I'm Carlo Peruzza, and I'm joined by the one, the only, the Mike Manning. Mike, what's going on, man?
I think you're more excited to see me than most of the viewers, probably.
Yeah,
Carlo.
probably so.
But I appreciate the introduction nonetheless. Fantastic show. Again, today, Carlo got some great guests lined up, so let's get after it.
Yeah, we had a pretty busy week of sports last week here at USCB, and let's get right into soccer, as we always do. They were able to pick up the 2-1 victory at Ave Maria. So, Mike, let's recap it a little bit.
Yeah, the first 3 minutes were absolutely insane.
Two goals in 3 minutes.
Yeah, 90 seconds in, Ave Maria gets a corner kick. Beautiful header, put it in. Not much you can do about it. You can't take anything away from her. Probably got to work defensively on the marking. She seemed to be wide open on the 6. Is what it is. Gave up the goal, but what a response, though. Anna Ginlat comes back and tacks in another goal for USCB. She's really starting to come on as of late. So we're excited to see what she has in store for the rest of the season. But that was, 40 seconds later. And so the first 3 minutes, there's 2 goals, 1-1 game, and that's where it was at halftime. Then USCB comes out, and in the first couple of minutes of the second half, again, a goal. So maybe Ave Maria was a little bit on their heels, but just kind of a deflection play in front. Bailey White able to grab her second goal of the season.
Yeah, she's really impressed me so far. I think she's turning into a really good player. I mean, as a freshman, it's great when we can use freshmen right out of the gate and they're impactful for the team. So
and we do have several freshmen. Yes. I mean, from Bailey White to Dina Stalnaki in the center back position. You've got Lauren Kelly there in the middle.
Yes,
You've got Kaylee Kumar, who's playing right back, who did some amazing things in that game. Some overlap plays, really created some chances down that right side, and the list goes on. We've got several freshmen that really contribute to what their Coach Harris and the team is doing.
Absolutely, the team definitely has a bright future. But now let's go over to golf. We also had a golf event going on. The guys were in action?
Yeah, we had men and women were both in action. The guys, they were down at Weber, Weber International, and they had their Fall Classic. It's kind of an event for Sun Conference play. Get to see everybody there. And guys did exceptionally well in that first round, able to put themselves into the first place position. The second and third rounds kind of fell off a little bit, but on the flip side, though, Coastal, Georgia, and Kaiser also played extremely well in the second and third rounds and able to move up. So we'll talk to Will a little bit later in the show and kind of find out some of his thoughts, how the team's looking. But they ended up in fourth place down there. But good to see kind of the conference teams kind of find out where they're at in comparison.
For sure.
Like I say, Coastal Georgia is probably one of the favorites in the conference and in the country, really, as they've got some outstanding golfers down there. And over on the women's side, huge event for them. They went out to Oklahoma City and got to golf in 40-degree weather and 15-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
Got a couple of photos that you'll see all bundled up and very cold looking. But the girls did very well out there. Ended up in third place, where the NAI championship will be held in the spring.
Yeah, so that's good for them to get some experience on that course.
Yeah, and when you have an event like that, you've got top 20 teams coming
Absolutely.
in. And the ladies found out where they really stand and played very well. Finished in third place behind, rival SCAD, which their women's team
was really good.
Unbelievable. And then Texas Wesleyan as well. So women played very, very well overall. Vanessa Schlew looking real strong here in her final year, and
Blanca Porta.
Excited about that, see what she does going forward. Yeah, Blanca, again, performing very well. And then Delia Prescia had injuries last year, held her out, but comes in this year, and she has been very consistent for
USCB. A lot
of
people were worried when the 3 big seniors left last season that the team just wasn't going to be the same. But, Vanessa, Delia, and Blanca have really all stepped up. I mean, we knew Blanca was at it last year. She was one of the front runners. But Vanessa and Delia have really made impact so far. And
Oh,
it's been great.
they've been great for
Absolutely.
the women's team, and I know Coach DeBuel challenged them early on, said, "Hey, we need you to start carrying the load to step up now that Emily and Franzi and Moa are gone. You need to step up." So they've done that. They've answered the call, and the rest of their year is going to be pretty exciting. I think next they're headed to Spartanburg to take at a Division I tournament at Wofford College in the Terrier Intercollegiate. Coming up later in the month.
For sure. So now, lastly, we got some cross country to talk about. They were in action as well.
They were headed up to Charlotte, and thankfully they were able to run after remnants from Hurricane Michael and everything came through. Glad they were able to get that in. The course was a little damp, but big event up at Queen City, and hosted by Queens College up there, and they had several Division I opponents, some really quality Division II opponents, and the guys, all underclassmen, continue to put on a show for
Wesley
us.
Murphy, Tedros, unbelievable.
Yeah, and Cameron Taylor. The guys are looking really, really solid, and we're excited about what they're doing. And for them, their next big event, Sand Shark Invitational.
This weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be about 400 runners, men and women combined. Men are going to run first, women second, about 200 in each of those categories. It's a massive event in the Southeast, and what started with about 4 runners 11 years ago is now over 400.
Turns into a really big thing.
Coach Larry Kimball started it back then, and just unbelievable what it's become, and it's a premier event for a lot of cross country teams. Like you said, the women also competed up there, and they had an exceptional day. Janitza, freshman,
she's been looking outstanding.
has been very strong. She's going to be a bright light for this team going forward. And Hannah Johnson really stepped up in their race senior year, and it's time to do those things. And Hannah came out and ran her lowest time of the year.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to see what they bring as well to that invitational.
Most definitely. But now it's time to go into some soccer, and we're going to watch some highlights from the Ave Maria game.
Yep.
And after that, when we come back, we're going to have Jay Harris on the show as usual.
Our favorite.
So you're watching Sand Shark Bytes. We'll be back. And welcome back to Sand Shark Bytes. Now we're joined by Jay Harris. Jay, how you been, man?
I've been well, thank you.
All right, so can you recap your team's victory last Saturday?
We won 2-1 at Ave. It was a difficult game. Didn't really play too good, but we won, and that's the main thing. You know, when you're not playing well, to get wins and grind them out is a difficult thing to do. There really wasn't much in the game, but we found a way to win, and that counts for a lot.
Do you feel that your team is still riding the momentum from the homecoming overtime win?
Definitely. Trends become the norm. When you win, you can continue winning. When you're losing, you find ways to lose. So the fact we found a way to win at homecoming, and we found a way to win, that can just be the theme, and that can continue throughout the season.
So what was the biggest takeaway then from that Ave game where you said you didn't play so well? What kinds of things have you guys been addressing to sort those things out?
Just more consistency. It's been kind of the theme of the season. We don't create so many opportunities, and when we do, we need to be a little bit more clinical, and then we need to be a lot more consistent in our passing and controlling, and have more runs off of the ball, a little bit more creative, and also a little bit more structure on defense. So it sounds like quite the spectrum of things.
Right, and one of the things, Logan Lesk in the goal has been playing phenomenal. Defensively, you guys have looked to be really able to sort some things out, keep the shots from distance, which makes her job a little bit easier. What about that final third? What needs to happen there to create for you guys?
I think Anna has done an amazing job this year. She was playing on the outside in her front three last year, and she has taken up the middle role and been extremely dominant and strong in possessing for us and being able to work off her. We need to get more of the midfield line, breaking lines and moving forward further than the forwards. You know, we tend to be a little bit structured offensively where we're staying in lines. The reason we scored the goal at homecoming is because Mel just decided to push further forward than the actual ball, which is what you need to do to ask questions and make it difficult for the opposition. So we just need to be a little bit more creative, make sure we get a little bit more width and runs from midfield.
Jay, so one of the main things I'm looking at the team right now, one of the biggest successes I think for me are some of the newcomers. Girls like Bailey and Camila. What do they bring to the team?
Camila's a senior, so she's played 3 years at Francis Marion. She's got a little bit more poise and experience, and that sometimes shows on the field. Bailey has speed. She's got work to do still, but it's great to have her as a freshman because you can see with the development she's going to be an asset for us moving forward. Dina has been wonderful as a centre back. She's only going to get stronger, and in my opinion, she's going to become an all-conference player.
Absolutely. So last question for you, Jay. You said when we used to have you on the show at the beginning of the season, you said that your team was making some mistakes. Do you feel that your team has fixed these mistakes?
Soccer's a strange game. You can fix one thing and another thing will come up. So it's an ever-evolving challenge to fix and to improve things that you're doing well. So we definitely improved on some things, but then there's other areas that you see that maybe you've neglected on or you need to focus on. So, we're a work in progress, and I don't see that ever changing. I just hope, it just narrows down the scope of the things that we want to improve on. So we're still building our identity, and that'll take time, but we're showing signs of improvement, and these wins exemplify what we're doing.
Absolutely. So Jay, thank you for joining us today. Now we're going to go meet the men's golf team, and then when we come back, we'll be doing an interview with Will Knipe. You're watching Sand Shark Bytes.
Will Knipe, Junior, Rosella, South Carolina.
Tam Paswanic. I am a junior and I'm from Bangkok, Thailand.
Jacob Thomas, freshman, Edmonton.
Jack Faraci, senior, Long Island, New York.
Mark Sweeney, junior, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Lucas Henvo, freshman, Liège, Belgium.
Ian Lewis, senior, Fall River, Nova Scotia.
Caleb Brown, junior, Kershaw, South Carolina.
Bobby Dunphy, senior, Antigonish, Nova Scotia.
And welcome back to Sand Shark Bytes. Now we're joined by Will Knipe. So Will, what was your thoughts on your last tournament and your team's performance and your performance? Just give us a recap.
It was a tough week. We had a good first round, but the second round wasn't the greatest we could have hoped to have. Jacob Thomas, our new freshman, played really well. It was his first or second tournament ever. Last at Innisbrook, he had a rough go around, which is understandable, but he's really shown a lot of strength and power, and he's getting a lot better as he goes on. I didn't play as well as I hoped to play. I had a miss the whole week, missing it right, and just didn't putt that well. So I'm looking forward to next week though. So hoping to bring it back. Sometimes you have tough weeks, some are better than others. So hope I can bounce back.
All right, let's talk about your first performance of the season. I believe it was the opening round. You shot in the mid-60s. You had a really good round. Do you want to just talk about that round for you?
Yeah, I played really well. I didn't miss a fairway. Didn't really miss a green. I was hitting the ball the best I've hit in a long time and felt good to get out there. I was excited. I was amped up for the first tournament of the season. So, yeah, I felt good to get out there and strike some balls around and play well.
So now, we've been a couple tournaments this season so far. Do you feel that your team is back in the routine of tournaments? Are they back in that the swing of things after being off for the season so long in the summer?
Yeah, it's tough to come in kind of cold. When we had such a long break, but I think we're getting there. It takes some time, but we're getting there for sure. Yeah.
So this last tournament, you guys got to see Coastal Georgia again, Kaiser, Johnson and Wales, and then you guys. I mean, that's really what I think conference is going to come down to for you guys. Where do you need to be in championships in the spring? So we've got some time. What do you guys need to do to get over that hump to take down the Coastal Georgia's solid team? Probably one of the favorites, really. So where do you guys see yourselves stacking up? What do you got to work on?
I think we all need to work on our mental game. I think sometimes we get off to a bad start, we get all frustrated, and we just turn like a couple bad holes into more bad holes. We don't really just bounce back and make a bunch of birdies. I think we need to work on that as a team. So I think if we work on our mental game, we'd be a much better team. So I think that would help out a lot.
You said you had Jacob Thomas coming in from Edmonton?
Yeah, Edmonton,
He's another Canadian on the golf team.
Nothing wrong with that.
Per usual for us around here. What have you liked from him? What does he? You said he's done well. What does he bring? What makes him?
Well, he has a great personality with all the guys on the team. He gets along with everybody very well. Hits the ball a very long way. I mean, he's a big Canadian. He's used to play hockey. He's a strong guy. So hits the ball a long way. He can putt really well. So I mean, that's a good asset for our team, definitely.
And I think it's great. I mean, your leadership now. Here you are. You got to kind of carry that torch. Have you taken any of these guys under your wings as you guys get ready to pass that on to them?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We already got nicknames for all the guys and everything. So, it didn't take long, at all. So.
Will, one thing I love about your team is the team chemistry. I know you guys hang out with each other all the time on and off the field. Just how much fun is it being able to play with the guys you're playing with, being able to interact with them? Does that just make the game of golf even more enjoyable for you?
It definitely does. I love hanging out with all my guys, and we all have a good time when we're together. There's never a dull moment whenever we're all together, so it's always fun.
Well, Will, thank you for joining us today. We hope you guys do great going forward from here. Now we're going to take a quick break. You're watching Sand Shark Bytes.
At the University of South Carolina, Beaufort, we offer small classes, individual attention, and an affordable education in an atmosphere that fosters diversity and achievement.
We are students.
We field 9 Sand Shark sports teams that compete in the Sun Conference.
We are athletes.
We are one university with 2 campuses serving the coastal areas of South Carolina and Georgia.
We are the Low Country.
We are the fastest growing 4-year school in the University of South Carolina system. We are USCB.
And we are back. And Mike, where's the time gone? We're already at the end of another show.
Well, it's gone to the airwaves, Carlo.
I guess so. So now we're just going to preview for what's going to go on this coming weekend. Yep. We got some soccer going on.
We do. Big stretch of games for the women, going down to number 3 in the country, Southeastern.
Yeah.
Then they're coming back. We've got to finish up with number 19, Georgia Gwinnett, right after that. And then you've got Johnson and Wales and our rival SCAD.
So yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough schedule, and we're all excited to see what's going to happen. But also, we got some action on the golf course for both the men and women.
Yeah, and they're both away. Men are going to be headed down to Thomasville, Georgia. Hopefully everything there is, it's about 15 miles or so from Tallahassee, so everything down there, hopefully everything's good with Hurricane Michael and things are in order, but they've got the Thomas Fall preview, and the women are going to be headed to Spartanburg for the Terrier Intercollegiate up at Wofford College.
And besides that, we also have a very big event, the Sand Shark Invitational. As you said, 400 runners are going to be out there. What's your thoughts on that?
400 runners and myself.
I know.
We'll be out there. We'll be grabbing some video and some photos from the event. We're excited. Again, like we said, this has become a huge event for cross country. 11 years ago it started, 4 runners, now we're over 400. It's just unbelievable what's happened over the last decade for cross country, and excited to get out there and do it again. That's on the campus of Ridgeland Hardyville Middle School.
Right. Absolutely, and as always, Mike Manning will be hard at work this whole week, writing you stories, getting you videos, getting you pictures, and you can find them all on uscbathletics.com. And Mike, until next time, for Mike Manning, I'm Carlo Peruzzo. Keep those fins up, everybody.
Hey, I'm Tony Hawk, and you're watching the County Channel.
The County Channel is also available on video on demand. Go to bcgov.net, click on the County Channel logo, and select your program from the list.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
If you would like a DVD of this program, click DVD order form from the County Channel main page and fill out an order form.
Here's what's happening in Beaufort County.
We're here to gather public input, to present our schedule, the process, and also just to get feedback from what the community wants to have involved in the project. The US 278 corridor from Squire Pope Road to Moss Creek, and include looking at the 4 bridge replacements, widening the different options.
Well, the DOT is here and they've got their consultant team here, and the public is invited to provide input on the process with regards to the needs of 278, and it's just a public information gathering. So they've got some smart boards that they're using GIS information to help gather that information and kind of be able to zoom in on various aerial and images of the project area.
The NEPA process is the National Environmental Policy Act. It's mandated by the federal government with federal funds are used to basically go through and to go through the environmental process and find the least impactful alternative. Our next steps in our NEPA process will be to perform our technical field studies, as well as to start looking at alternatives, determining if the bridges are feasible to be widened, and then we'll present about a year and a half from now, present the alternatives to the public.
Well, this is the first public meeting with the project. This is an environmental assessment that's underway, and the environmental assessment will usually take about 2.5 years. So this process will go on through spring of 2020.
I think it's probably important for the entire area. Is, Hilton Head is such a tourist destination that restricting traffic impacts the economy, the way of life for people. They spend so much time in traffic. To be able to improve that, as well as improve the bicycle facilities, looking at the environmental considerations for the area.
Well, 278 is a very busy corridor, and it's kind of the lifeblood for Hilton Head Island and for the economy and safety of the public. So, we've been experiencing significant growth over the last several years. In the last 4 years, we've had 8% growth out there. And so, looking at the trends, we need to identify what improvements are needed and how we're going to best to address those.
I'm Craig Wynn, the SCBO project manager. Thank you for coming out to the US 278 corridor project.
And that's what's happening in Beaufort County.
Have you ever stopped to think that the reason for cold winters, leaves changing color in the fall, new plants sprouting in the spring, and hot summer days has to do with astronomy? Let's look at why the Earth has seasons and what that has to do with the stars. The reason we experience different seasons on Earth is because the axis is tilted just slightly off-center, not because the Earth gets further from or closer to the sun like you might guess. If you draw a line from the South Pole to the North Pole, this is called the axis of rotation, it's 23.5 degrees off of center. Sometimes during the year, the northern hemisphere is receiving more direct sunlight. Other times of the year, the southern hemisphere is receiving more direct sunlight. During that time, it's summer in the southern hemisphere and winter in the northern hemisphere. If you extend the axis of rotation as an imaginary line through the poles and off into space, the line points at what we call the celestial pole. This is the point in the sky around which the stars appear to rotate. Remember though, it is the Earth that is actually doing the rotating. If you were standing on the North Pole, looking directly above you, you'd be looking at the North Star. But Polaris has not always been the North Star. The Earth's axis wobbles just a little bit over the course of 26,000 years, so other stars have been the North Star over the course of history. This star, Thuban in the constellation Draco, was the pole star about 5,000 years ago when the pyramids were being built. Different cultures have used the stars to explain the change of the seasons. Native Americans have a legend that goes along with Ursa Major, the Big Bear. The stars of Ursa Major look familiar because they look the same as the Big Dipper, but the Big Dipper is actually an asterism, a familiar pattern of stars, whereas Ursa Major is the constellation. In the legend, the bear is the cup of the Dipper, made up by these 4 stars. And the hunters that pursue the bear are the stars in the handle. The first one carries a bow and arrow to kill the bear. The second one carries a pot to cook the bear in, and you can actually see the little star to the side. And the third one carries the firewood to start the fire. During the evening hours in the springtime, the bear rises up from the horizon, being chased by the hunters. In the summertime, the bear is high in the sky, being pursued. In the fall, the bear is caught. The hunters kill it, and its blood rains down onto the earth, changing the color of the leaves red. And in the winter, it dips low below the horizon, hibernating until it comes to the next spring and the cycle starts over again. Different constellations are visible during each of the seasons. This is because over the course of the year, the Earth moves to different places in its revolution around the sun. Familiar constellations like Orion and Taurus are best seen on winter evenings. During the spring, Leo the Lion and Virgo are found in the sky. Summertime brings the eagle, the swan, and the harp in the summer triangle, and in the fall, Pegasus and Andromeda take center stage. The transition of the seasons can be read in nature. In the change of salt marsh cordgrass from bright green to golden brown, in the colors of the leaves of our deciduous trees as they turn red and yellow, or in the migrating birds we see passing through. But the change of the seasons can also be read in the stars. I encourage you to go out throughout the year and look up to see how the sky changes.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell you lie.
Morning. Deputy Cook, Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. Reason I stopped you, sir, you threw your cigarette butt out the window. That's littering in the state of South Carolina. You have your license, registration, and insurance.
Yes, sir.